but they chose to remodel. They chose to get a prettier pot to shit in over helping their eldest son. I didn't even think of it like that until a couple days ago, and it hit me hard. My mom is so manipulative and shitty that she chose new toilets and a new scenery in their place to shower and piss and shit than to save the life of their son. Holy shit. No accountability, no growth.
You have to have a dad for that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, buddy, you're lucky. My estrogen levels are so low. Else I'd start crying right now. I see that video you see on the internet of someone like playing catch with my dad, and it's a shot on them, and they throw the ball, and the ball just goes tun 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 on the grass, and then you're like, oh, like, that's sad, but yeah, dad. My dad loved us, man, but he was working 60 hours a week to put a roof over our head. He didn't have the capacity to show up to play catch and fucking show up to games and all that shit. I get it.
What is going on, everyone? Tis Miyanovich, and I welcome you to the main dojo, the place where we process the raw struggles of men in an unprecedented paradigm. There is something inside of you that wants you to be more than what you are. But there also may be something inside of you that wants you to go down. And for some of us, that means going down for good. So, remove your ego, drop your bullshit, become vulnerable, and step into the dojo, mate. So one thing you don't know, I think I might have mentioned it to you, is that I have a similar situation in that I have a biological brother who's a giant nightmare alcoholic, mentally ill mess, and has been his whole life. But he's worse than your brother. His level of pathological or mental illness that he was born with is quite high. His history of addiction is massive and started when he was about probably 12. And being born into our family, neither of my biological parents were well. And to say that they were underskilled is an understatement. They were probably both psychologically and emotionally 12 or 13 years old. Retards. Like legit. Like retarded. Like not just, oh, these were immature people. No, they were born with something wrong too. And they couldn't deal with life at all.
Yeah, the deficit, just the permanent deficit where you're like.
That they never got over. And so you imagine your brother is born with all of these problems that need help. And this is probably what happened in your situation. So my biological brother just got the most shit end of the stick from both of them. Abused in every way possible. Mental, emotional, physical, likely sexual on my biological father's side of the family. Every way possible. He got fucking beat down and beat technically and everything.
Yep.
So when you have somebody that's born mentally ill and with problems, and then there's the environment of just everything being dumped on them. He's lucky to even still be alive at the age of coming up on 56. The people on that side of the family, my biological father didn't make 54. And my biological uncle on that side, which is my biological father's brother, didn't make 56. And these are CPAs, right? These are people who are like, went to college.
Pay their taxes. Do the stuff.
Massive addicts, alcoholics. There's a lot of dark secrets on that side. A lot of fucked up shit. And so my biological brother is still alive. And I had to cut contact with him. It's probably 20 years ago now.
Okay.
I tried to give him a chance. I had cut other people off from that side of the family 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I tried to give him chances throughout the years. He's living in my mom and my stepdad's house now because he's recovering from prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he has COPD and he still smokes. Like my mom's house is a haven for myself and my children. and my wife, when we go to Pittsburgh, it's always been a haven for us. And I don't want this cat for reasons of his own behavior in life with sexual abuse, not receiving it, giving it. I don't want my children sleeping in the same bed that this dude slept in when I go up to visit for Christmas. Right?
Yeah, man, that's super serious.
That this is what I'm contending with and having to have conversations with my mom about. And so they facilitate that for Christmas. And he's somewhere else when we come up for Christmas. And one of the telltale symptoms of that side of the shit side of my family and the biological father's side is that they are chain smokers, and their houses smell like death and cigarette tar. It's like it oozes off of the walls.
I grew up in a house where my parents smoked in the house until I was maybe 9, 10, 11, 12,
Yeah.
12.
I was chain smoked around. Luckily, my mom and my stepdad don't smoke.
Yeah.
But the other side did.
I'm just saying, like, I cannot, if I walk around town and somebody's smoking or somebody's smoking in their car in front of me and they blow it out the window,
Yeah.
I get ragey. I'm
Yeah.
just like, that is disgusting. I empathize.
This place, my mom's house, has been a magical place for my little girls. And their relationship with my mom is very magical. Now, because of this dude, I don't even want to take them there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be sleeping in the bed that this dude slept in? That's the spare bedroom. That was our place, which is my old bedroom, that they've had magical experiences over and over and over and over again in this bedroom.
At grandma's house.
And now a fucking pedophile, basically, who smokes cigarettes constantly, even though he has COPD and is recovering from cancer.
Does he have the oxygen cannula and he's smoking while he's got
I don't
that?
think he's there. I don't even know. I don't even ask.
Yeah.
Right.
That was my grandma.
And I don't want to say pedophile. I'll say sexual abuser, but potential sexual abuser, is in my mom's house, sleeping in the fucking bed that my children slept in magically for years and years. And he's quote unquote only smoking in the basement, which is fucking bullshit. He can smell when you go upstairs. He's smoking cigarettes out the window. It's all over the curtains.
Well, it's on his clothes anyway, dude. If he was down in the basement, he would drag it into his bed and lay there all day. And it would just get in the sheets and permeate the cloth.
He can't go outside because it's too cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my mom falls into all of that shit, all of that codependent shit. And I had a conversation with my stepdad about it. And he was like, I'm telling you, man, it's killing me. Having him here is killing me.
Yeah.
And my stepdad has his own problems. He's 82.
Oh man.
And
he doesn't need that.
No, the whole magical kingdom of my mom's house has collapsed, all because of this fucking dude. And this dude owns a house. He has his own house 2 miles away, and he doesn't want to be alone. I guess he's on medication for the chemo, the last part of the chemo, and it gives people nightmares. It gives him nightmares, so he can't be alone. So he's just been like moving from one aunt's house to the other aunt's house. Now he's in my mom's house. I walk in the house and it smells like those people. The people that abused me also. The people that were fucking psychos, right? And he's in this fucking house and my kids are in the house where he is and sleeping potentially. If I hadn't stopped it, my mom would, this is the problem with my mom, is she doesn't get shit like this. Like it would never occur to her, even though she knows everything about this dude, it would never occur to her that I wouldn't be cool putting my kids in the same bed that this dude sleeps in, right? My mom's really a good person, but her codependence is like, it should be in a like psychology 101 study. Case
Picture
study.
of your mom. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm bringing all that up because you're not alone here with us.
No, well, I appreciate it. I mean, even what you just brought up about, God, that olfactory response to memory when I smell cigarettes.
Oh.
Like my uncle passed. One of many things that had happened last year, my uncle passed away. They put his memorial service of sorts off by several months. And I finally saw my aunt for the first time in, probably 20 years. I knew they had smoked. I knew we had like little nephews, I guess they'd be of mine, my cousins' kids. Just a lot of drama and trauma and stuff. But they were in the house, and I knew they had all smoked in the house. And dude, I gave them a hug, and I snapped back to all of my childhood traumas, all of my abuse, all of the bad stuff because of that smell. The cooked food, burnt food, cigarettes in the house, marijuana, anything, candles, just anything burned, incense, all of that baked into their clothing. I had to change my clothes back at the hotel because it reeked of death and cancer and smoke. It's so hard to describe.
It has its own darkness to it. People don't realize that shit.
It is otherworldly,
real.
Dude. When I'm serious, man. It's like, and if somebody's listening right now and they're a smoker, they're like, man, these guys are really laying it on. I'm not just talking about your hobby.
Right.
It kind of goes beyond that for me, for the experience that I'm explaining.
Yeah.
It wrecked my brother and I both. It was really difficult. I did not want my children around it. I did not want them. We certainly didn't go in the home. Even at the hotel where we spent some time together, I was like, this is uncomfortable. We got out of there, dude. We got out of there fast.
Yeah.
The next morning, we got out. It was like, nope, because every single person but me and my children and my brother smoked. It was gross.
I think a lot of people who smoke are able to smoke because they're desensitized to not just their own body, but their lives and the situation. It's not, oftentimes when you see people that smoke heavy, that it's just a symptom on a mountain of fucking symptoms that's connected to all kinds of other fucked up shit.
Really good call. Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea that like, well, it's just smoking and everything else in my life, I'm a good person. Well, okay. That happens a lot too. I'm not saying that doesn't happen.
Yeah. My mom said, it was, sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
It just came to mind. I remember when my mom, left our home 2-3 years ago, right? I told you I've grieved the loss of my parents and they're still alive.
Yeah.
That's a huge grief. When my mom left, it was over cigarettes, over her smoking and refusing to wear a smoking jacket. I think we might have talked about this on the last one.
I didn't know it was cigarettes. I knew you got into it with her.
Yeah. It was literally just me going, hey mom, it's important to me that when you're here, just wear a smoking jacket, hang it up, put it on the porch, put it on. Because when she smokes, she blows it out her nose, so it just goes all over her, versus my dad blows it kind of away. Anyway, her response was, it was a character defamation that I said that you smell like cigarettes. She said, you don't accept me for who I am. And it was so weird.
Sounds like a fucking addict.
Or she said it verbally to me, and then in this written correspondence with my dad CC'd on this email, it says, you don't accept us for who we are. And I was like so confused because I'm like, she can't possibly mean cigarettes is a character trait. Wait, oh my God. She thinks that an activity is who you are. It's like, that's like something a child says, to go back to that immaturity. It's like me playing electric guitar in my parents' basement at 12 years old being like, you don't understand me. Me. It's like, no, that's not equivalent. I'm not saying that. I'm saying turn your guitar down, please. It's too loud.
Yeah.
You don't understand who I am. It was next level, but that's how they are.
Yeah.
That's how my parents are. And that's how people are that you're talking about. When
yes.
they
I'm not
identify
saying
with
that,
like,
I'm not saying everybody that smokes cigarettes is a re.
no,
but most
dude,
people that smoke cigarettes and continue to do so, not just because they're addicted to nicotine, but because they're a fucking re. There's something fucking wrong with them. And that's why they fucking smoke cigarettes, or they can't get out of it, or whatever they justify. You have to be massively out of touch with your body to be able to smoke cigarettes over a long. You're missing a sensitivity and sensibility about yourself that other human beings have. You're entirely missing it. If you weren't missing it, you wouldn't be able to continue with,
or have dulled it to the point that you're not in touch with it.
But so this brings up a good point, because we're talking about parents and fucked up biological brothers. There are just some people that should not ever fuck.
You know what's, oh my God.
And like, seriously, like if you can't fucking parent a human, right? You shouldn't be fucking, right? So there are people that are in some sort of a delusion, right? Or just wrap your Jimmy, or you want to fuck, just make sure that it doesn't result in a kid. get the thing and the stuff or the snip and the IUD and the shim sham or the bing bong or whoever does it. I don't care. But like, there are people that are in such a delusional state that they believe they're totally G to G. They're good to go for making humans. Or maybe the humans that they make are mistakes because they don't have fucking control or whatever. All of these problems that are like landing, let's start with your scene. All of these problems that are in your house, these are the leftovers. These are the results of your parents. Shit that they didn't take care of. Shit that they didn't do. Shit that they should have taken care of, or they should have attempted or gotten involved in with your brother. And the reason why he's in your house and all of this crazy shit is happening is because of them. Period.
Dude, did I tell you that that's what my brother said to the intake nurse? He's blackout drunk, saying yes and no answers, barely saying yes and no. And she effectively said, "Why are you here?" And he said, "Really, really bad parents." It broke my heart to hear him. He's not saying, "I'm drunk, I'm suicidal, I need help, I need whatever." He literally, the only thing he can laser focus his blackout drunk vision into is, "I have really bad parents." That's pretty telling, if you ask me.
It's pretty zen.
Right? Like, dude, I'm like, well, then that's what we're going to focus on, homeboy. Like when I help advocate to get you the crisis support into inpatient, and when you say you need therapy, I'm going to help you because I've been his advocate. Yeah. No, I'm not going to overhelp, right? I'm not prioritizing him over my family or myself. I'm just saying, when I'm a part of those conversations, even down the line, if he wants to do family counseling and tell me I'm a difficult person to live with and a piece of shit, I'm all about that, man. I can take it.
Yeah.
But I want to help facilitate that. Oh, you think mom and dad are bad? Tell them, or tell me, or tell your therapist. You need to work through that.
Yeah. Hopefully you get there with him.
Yeah.
Hopefully that lands there. But, some things are just too much for people. And if your brother was born with some things wrong with him cognitively or whatever, if he's a minority also.
Yeah.
If he was bullied, if he was bullied in social environment, if he was abused at home.
All of that. All of those things.
Who can survive that? Who can, is it any wonder why he is the way he is? It isn't any wonder why he is the way he is. But this is part of the problem, is that he deserves help, but he's also destructive. He's also destructive to everything around him. And that's the trick of this shit.
And he wasn't for an extended period of time. We had this big window, and man, I've been very clear with every person in this crisis situation.
Yeah.
And I'm using that as a term of like, that's what these local organizations refer to this as. I've been, one of the first things I say is, Brian has fallen through every single crack, every single stepping stone that is supposed to be placed for him. Well, happens on a Friday at 5 p.m. Gotta wait till Monday. Oh, sorry, that person's sick. They didn't come in. We'll email you. Never gets emailed. I have to remember and go, what happened to that thing? He goes, I don't know. I check his email. I check my email. I call the organization. They're like, oh gosh, looks like somebody forgot to call you.
Yeah.
That happens chronically. So it's not just his inability to have these skills, his inability to have discipline and kick ass and move forward. But man, you try to get, with my sickness, people are like, hey, can you get disability or unemployment or something? Ha! Fucking ha! Yeah. I've tried just calling. We don't have a physical building to go into, probably because people fucking, knock it down with a bulldozer. If they had a physical building to go into, you have to get on the phone, wait on hold. Sometimes you get on hold at 8 a.m. and then at 4:30 or 5, you get hung up on. And then you have to call the next day. And I'm just saying, these are the services, the crisis services and things that seem to be available. So it's, man, it's It's fucking hard.
Have your parents ever shown any sign of taking responsibility for any issues or abuse or anything that's happening with your brother or anything that's happening with you? Have they ever shown any sign of being able to do that?
No, I was just thinking about this because I have not yet told my parents that my brother attempted suicide in my home and that he's in a facility to detox and to protect him from himself.
Yeah.
And get better. I have had interactions with both my mother and father who live about 2 hours away. And my dad asked me, how's he doing? And I said, well, I think that's going to have to come from him. He's going to have to tell you when he's ready. And my dad, I'm assuming, just thinks it's about our general dysfunction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe he hasn't chatted with him because my brother has been deteriorating since at least the holidays. So he's probably like, oh man, he's just got a case of the SADS again. Oh, so that's so weird. He's probably just upset, he just can't get over it. That's my parents' solution, right? So he's just get over it. And that has a detriment to our ability to not get over it because we don't feel validated in our feelings. My mother, very similarly, what she does, her thing is bringing it up to a 10 right out of the gate if you call her out on anything. So even if I told this woman, because I've written the email in my head, I've said the phone call dozens of times this week, and there's no way for me to communicate. And I'm a mental fucking ninja, bro. You know that, like communication wise, I've worked in communication for a quarter century. I cannot figure out how to be like, this is your fault. Own it. Fucking help out. Something that is really, and I bet probably is a part of my brother's fall. We kind of escaped poverty. I did. My brother, not so much. My parents a little bit, but they don't have a lot of money. My dad's still working at 74 years old. My mom hasn't worked for a long time, but I don't know where they got the money from because dad's still working so that he can have money just to pay bills when he does choose to retire in the next year or two, maybe, if they're lucky. They just remodeled both of their bathrooms. Now, granted, they live in a trashy community, and they have a manufactured home, and so the cost of a bathroom remodel in a manufactured home is probably going to be less than a stick-built if you can do the scale, right? It's just kind of like an insert and some flooring is what they did, right? Mm-hmm. They chose to remodel. They chose to get a prettier pot to shit in over helping their eldest son. I didn't even think of it like that until a couple days ago, and it hit me hard. Yeah. My mom is so manipulative and shitty that she chose new toilets and a new scenery in their place to shower and piss and shit than to save the life of their son. Holy shit. No accountability, no growth.
Bretzel parents, but certainly your parents sound like, your mom sounds like she's just fucking nuclear Bretzels.
Yeah,
just
man.
Not a well person.
I'm a chronic insomniac. I'm currently taking Lunesta and metoprolol at night to help sleep. That's kind of helpful.
Do they work?
Not as much as I would like for them to work, but I think it comes down more to I'm going to need long-term, just hard work. Long-term hard work. Sleep hygiene, exercising at the right time, diet, everything. And take it life or death serious like I have some of these other elements.
Yeah.
Not take it as just being honest with myself. Not just taking it as, well, I'll try a different pill. When I get to the point where I can mentally, emotionally add another big, serious, major hard work thing to my life, it's going to be a focus. And maybe that's in when I get serious about meditation and potentially approaching spirituality and stuff, maybe it kind of goes in conjunction with that.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot that has to do with me not being able to turn my brain off due to that complex PTSD stuff and the anxiety and that intense upbringing. It's all, it's all tied together. The hypercortisolemia, that thought without me having a diagnosis, and my endo canceled my fucking appointment. So I get to wait another 2 weeks for that. But.
And when you said you're getting tests back, or are you getting more?
I got 2 more today.
Okay. You received 2 more. Today.
I received 2 more. So the testosterone test, so I did it Monday. Today's Friday. Yeah, so they've taken 4 or 5 days to go to whatever lab. We send, some of them get processed locally, and some of the tests get sent out out of the community, and then they get processed in whatever way, and then come back.
My test stuff isn't back yet. I'm assuming they have to they ship out those hormonal packages out to a specialist.
Yep, and then I don't know how many days it takes to. I don't know if it's just like. I see it, centrifuge, and then they run it, or if it's like, it has to be tested against some chemical process for several days.
Yeah. I was really happy to find, the Ulta Labs is what I used online, similar to LabCorp. It's the same thing as LabCorp. And then there's an independent contractor up in Asheville called Keystone Labs, and smaller operation. Cool people, real easy. You'd like the phlebotomist. He's like a saucy, salty, smartass guy. Everything he said was a fucking like negative joke. Like,
oh, I thought you were like, I want to suck your dick. I mean, blood. You're like, oh, you motherfucker.
That would have been the best.
Oh, dude, right?
But he was more like, I was like, so do I get like a cookie after this? Or like, and he was like, I'll give you a swift kick in the ass, no cookie. I was like, I like this guy. I like this guy. Tits McGee. There was, I just came up with another Tits McGee.
Oh no, I don't.
You know how the shit just pops in your head.
Oh,
it's where the comedy comes from somewhere you have no idea.
I've thought about wearing a lavalier mic during all waking hours, literally just running to a recorder.
I can't. I was texting the dudes. It was in Texas chat or something. I can't remember, but I was like, look, it's not that big of a deal. You guys don't have to go all fucking Apeshit McGoo on this.
Apeshit McGoo.
So that was one of those ones where you type it and then you just start cry laughing because you're like, Apeshit McGoo. So Apeshit McGoo, I want to get some Apeshit McGoo shirts going.
Oh my God.
Dude, just fucking, you don't have to go all fucking Apeshit McGoo.
I wonder if you could do like, remember Mr. Magoo would be like walking off a steel beam, and instead you have an ape walking off a steel beam on a high rise building. Apeshit McGoo.
Oh my God, dude!
Wearing the glasses.
Even if Apeshit McGoo is only something we use here, I use it. It's like it's one of those tasty morsels you come up with that never leaves you. You're just like, Apeshit McGoo is yours. So there's no boundaries, but there's also, there's no sense of boundary, but there's also, you're taking care of things that other people should have been taking care of. But let's talk about this one specifically. When mothers lack skills to mother, when mothers lack nurturance, when they lack baseline skills to mother, and then that falls upon somebody else in the family to make up for the gap, and how counter that works to natural developmental processes. For, let's say, it falls upon the child, it falls upon the eldest child, or that child needs their developmental process to go along a natural, healthy arc, which does not include parenting other people because you're a fucking child.
Dude.
Right? And
yeah.
It is a very common thing.
Can you imagine who I could have been, where I could have been? I could have been on Saturday Night Live. I could have gone to Juilliard. I could have, like in an alternate universe where I wasn't being beaten and yelled at and had to develop into whatever form I did, and all sorts of other just terrible, terrible shit. Can you imagine? And of course you develop in spite of that adversity and all, there's all that stuff. We're never going to know. But I think about that sometimes of like, wow, if I've been able to develop to this point and have these skill sets, I can't imagine where I would have been if I would have had nurturing.
Yeah. A lot of the people that have hard upbringings that end up being supersonic in something, right? Whether it's an actor or an engineer or whatever, singer. It seems to me that they get fucked up by their upbringing, and then it translates into some supersonic kind of effort and concentration. But those people do not react to the trauma of their upbringing by then becoming a replacement for the parents. So that all of that energy gets put into achieving something as an individual, instead of all of that energy gets spread out to care about everybody else around you instead of you. Instead of your gifts and your hobbies, your energies dissipate into taking care of others, right? So to me, it seems like that would be the difference, is if Robin Williams, who was kind of a neglected kid, he was just like a latchkey kid and like neglected and wealthy. He was left by himself, but he wasn't abused, and that didn't force him to have to take care of his siblings.
Right.
He was just kind of neglected and left to his own devices to deal with himself. And so he can ride a personal rocket ship with that. It forces him into a whole different area. Whereas somebody like you, you're impacted, and then you're kind of forced by the situation to make up the gap for the fact that your parents are fucking retards and they don't know how to parent. Right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you, that imagine getting back all of this is what I've been doing visually, and maybe this will help you. If you go back through your life and you look at all of the people and situations where you just stepped in and became the super caregiver, it's probably almost every situation, because humans fuck up a lot, and you just find, you're like, oh, this is all fucked up. I probably have to help here. And you just get into it, and then you just take the energy out of yourself and you give it all around. What if you went into every one of those situations, and this is what I've been doing and reflecting in my mind, is going into those situations and thinking that energy that I gave to those people in that situation is still out there. So let's see what happens if I reel it back into myself, right, and put it back where it belongs. And my God, I spend a lot of time doing that visualization, and I feel like it's working. I feel like that essential magical energy wasn't supposed to go to them in the first place. Or if it was, for a little bit of time, I've left it out there. What if I pull it back in?
I just picture you out in your fucking field with like a metal detector whistling, like you lost your dog. You're hey, yo. Like, what are you doing? I'm looking for, you know what? Fuck you. I'm looking for something. And you just put your headphones back on.
I just went, I'm reeling in my essence. I'm reeling it in. But it really has been a great exercise in realizing how much that I've done in my life, where, including LGO, where I just find myself in a situation that has a lot of potential to be amazing. And I'm waiting for somebody else to see the potential.
Sure.
To step in there and get it going. Or the person steps in there and they get it going and they're atrocious at it. And I want to be involved in it too because it's special, but the people in charge are atrocious. And so I go, get it the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
Let a fucking real magic man do it. Let a dude who knows how to fucking make it happen. But I think my whole life has been filled with those kinds of things. And I don't know that I've ever really truly gone from deep down in myself. What do I want to do? What do I want to create? Because I don't know that I have ever been able to really get in touch with that place, because I just spend all of my time reacting to situations around me and situations that I find myself in, which is way fucking different from creating a situation that I want to fucking create.
And how often we change and mature and develop.
Sure.
You used to be into guitars, now you're not. You used to be into motorcycles. Now you're not. You used to be into sport fishing. I don't know. Now you're not. Whatever. I'm just picking, hobbies or whatever. But those passions, I feel like I have about a 5-year run on an interest before that cycle changes. I don't know if 5 years is anything that you know of in terms of other cultures and things, or that concept of rebirth or something. But about that time frame, passions and things come and go. I think that's part of maybe being a Renaissance man, right? That concept.
Sure.
Sure. I am a person I'm the person that my friends hate, because you can hand me something and I can just do it.
Yeah.
You want me to learn how to juggle? Show me.
Right.
Here, you do it first. Okay. I think I get it. And then you're like, then you're juggling, right? So that quick adaptability, jack of all trades, master of none. Mm-hmm. So it almost makes it worse for you though, because can you identify like what your passion would be that you would want, like you'd want to do and focus on right now? Or have you thought about it enough to be like, yeah, I think I'm going to fucking bake quiches. I'm going to make the best quiches in the area.
First and foremost, but let me say, I have done one thing, and that's start my family. That I fully did consciously and chose and wanted it. So there's no, that's not changing, right? And it still is my number one focus, my number one care and concern.
I appreciate how you say that.
It's in my bones, and I chose it to, right? So here's the issue with that. As a man, that's not enough. There's got to be one other thing that doesn't have anything to do with them. It just has to do with me. And what is that? I think I only started to ask this question because I honestly thought of all the things I've been: an athlete, a professional musician, a professional carpenter, a professional instructor in Tai Chi, Qigong, and meditation. I don't know how many of those things I actually chose.
You think you fell into them, or they chose you, or that just kind of...
I think a lot of that. I thought it was me choosing it, but I was so empathetic and so lacking in an ultimate sense of self because of my upbringing that I would take on the things that were right around me that maybe a friend of mine was doing or whatever, and it became me. But I was really just mimicking something that was there at the time that I got a little spark with.
Wow. That's pretty profound for me.
I don't think I chose any of it. I was just so having no sense of self, but needing to have things in the world. I just mimicked what was around me. And that's very common for young humans to be doing that, because when you're 2 or 3 or 4, where's your ultimate sense of self? You're mimicking what is in the culture around you. But I think what makes the difference between a child and then an adult is that the adult should be choosing something that's not mimicking, that's ultimately original to self, that has nothing to do with the fucking people around you, that has to do with just you and what you're choosing. What is that for me? I'm 50, to be 52 next month. I don't know, because I'm still coming out of the haze and the dream of reflecting everything that's around me. And I'm just ultimately getting to, through a process like reeling in all of this mimicry I've been doing, the energy in the mimicry, and all of the energy that I've been giving out to people to nurture them in their situations, even many times thinking I was nurturing my own path, like being a professional musician, building a professional band from scratch. I thought that was me, and it wasn't. It wasn't
some sort of avatar, right?
Well, it was, I know who it was. It was 2 of my closest friends that I took upon their dreams, and I thought they were mine, and that we just shared the dreams.
Interesting.
But it wasn't mine. I thought it was, and I thought I was just like akin with this kindred spirit, but I was really just absorbing their shit. And I spent years of my life and sacrificed tens of thousands of dollars and all of this stuff, traveling the country and recording albums and learning different instruments and writing. And
that, what you're describing is something I have not said out loud. And I think my motorcycling, I used to be a biker. I've ridden 100,000 plus miles on motorcycles.
Yeah, Johnny Shit Ticket story. That's where that came from. Johnny Shit Tickets.
Hey, where's your fucking shit tickets? You ain't got no shit tickets. How you gonna wipe your ass? He uses the bandana from his neck. I ran out of shit tickets. I thought my uncle was walking around with poopy bandana around his neck. I was like, this dude's a hard ass. Such an incredible experience, incredible life experience and stuff. But now this motorcycle sits in my garage as this like almost, shrine to who I once was. And I can't seem to get rid of it. Part of that's financial because I'm like, fuck, man, I'm not going to get any money for this damn thing. I might as well keep it, might work on it. It'd be fun to ride. I'm never going to ride again. Dude, there's no way. I barely feel safe with my kids in my big truck because of how distracted people are driving. Yeah. I'm not going to get on a little two-wheeled thing and go hurt myself or get killed.
It's pretty common, dude. My stepdad went through the same thing. He used to have motorcycles when I was young, and then he's just like, nah, I'm not taking a spill.
Dude, no, I can't. I hurt my shoulder somehow, and now I'm, 10 weeks of not working out the way I want to. I can't imagine putting that thing down. Anyway, it's just interesting the way that you're talking about how you're mirrored, because I had peers, my Uncle Bill, my great Uncle Bill from New York, the connectivity we had over it, but they still ride. They're lifelongers. I did it, and I eventually kind of matured out of it or grew out of it. And now I go, was I really a biker? Was it really a passion, or was it just an activity? That wasn't my activity, was it? That's incredible.
Well, if your parents wipe out your sense of self or never provided for you, and you become what they need, whether they realize they're doing it or not, they're creating a human being and then turning you into what they need instead of what you need to be for yourself. Or the situation is just creating out of you what's needed, which is they don't do their fucking job as parents, and then you become the proxy parent to the situation, and then you become the proxy parent to every situation that you're in. There is no ultimate point, right? And so my belief is this: I think people better look out. Like I agree with what you're saying, man. When you say, you would be super capable. I agree. I agree that you have this capacity, and so do I. Super capacity. That's been being vampired off of us because of the way we were brought up. And what happens when people who have been depleted like that, but also building chi at the same time, what happens when those people discover that they're being vampired out by the world and stop it and bring that energy back in and make a choice? What happens when that happens? And you have small levels of genius, sparks of ability. What happens when that happens? I think giant things happen.
Yeah.
And I think I have no idea what I think I'm just there now, getting to my power, and I have no idea how powerful. And our people around me certainly don't know. And so that's why I keep using the statement, ripping space-time. I've been saying that in the other podcast for a couple years. I just feel like I'm on the precipice of ripping space-time fabric with my gifts. Like I haven't really ever gotten to them yet. And only now am I capable. And I'm not going to be able to do it with the body of a depleted woman from 1888 who just squeezed out 12 children and is like a giant deflated. Why am I that woman? Because I have been depleted by the situations that I'm in, allowing those situations to deplete me. I have been overworking to cover gaps for other human beings and help them heal my whole life without really stepping into my fucking thing and doing what I need to do as not just as a human, but as a man. It's very specific, as a man and fully empowered with a fully empowered body. What does that look like? Right? Meanwhile, I'm not in that position. I'm like, I need to get there, but I have the body systems and the hormonal systems of a flattened, deflated housewife from 1885 with 9 fucking kids. That's what I feel like. So what happens if I fix that? What happens?
Turn it up.
What happens if I put the hormones in that are supposed to be in there? I've been working on my strength for a year and a half now, and I'm stronger than I've ever been in the weight room. What happens if I combine a high cognitive ability with a high physical ability and a high spiritual ability with an actual knowledge of what I want to fucking do. Not what everyone around me says. No offense to anybody out there, because we know we're all kind of in the same position, people who have jobs, but most men who have jobs, you drive to a building that somebody else owns or pays for. You sit at a desk that somebody else owns or pays for. You use a computer that somebody else owns or pays for, and you work for other people's ideas. And you work for their benefit. You get benefit, but you're working for other people's ideas. And you've taken into you the mission of serving somebody else's ideas because it pays your bills, it puts your kids through college, it gives you fucking health insurance, but you're still working for other people's ideas. That's most men. Well, what happens to a man who doesn't do that? Who just wants to empower his ideas?
God, I hope you open up, like, flash forward 5 years and you have like a custom-made cookie cutter store. You're saying all this beautiful, amazing, profound shit, and then I go visit you, and you're like, "Here it is, dude," and you open the barn door, and it's just, it's bespoken cookie cutters,
and it's and then in the background, the universe somehow turns a TV on, and The Price is Right is on, and the big wheel is on, and the big wheel failure sound comes on. Wah, 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 brr. Anyway, don't take that wrong. Most of you dudes out there that might be listening are like, Jesus Christ, Randy, we're just trying to have a job. And okay, that's fine. But what we're talking about here is breaking out of anything that's imprisoning your potential. And I really do think that if you had a mom, or a dad or a family situation that fucked you up, but Half-Deadpool and I can relate to this whole mom didn't have the chops. You were put in the position to be the one that had to be the mom in the family or the caregiver. And then you end up patterning that your whole life, where all you do is fucking nurse every fucking situation you're in, and how that is not you, because you don't even know what you are, because you weren't even given the fucking ability to know what you are. And you're in middle-aged crisis or whatever, and you're having to wrestle with these things. I don't even know what Randy's capable of at this point. I don't know. I've never done it.
Yeah, I think it's also important to note that you and I both have been self-employed for so long that our relationship with the concept of employment, normal quote-unquote employment, is different than somebody who's used to it, conditioned to do it, or exceeds at it, whose strength is in kicking ass, loyalty, showing up, doing the 40 to 60 hours a week, whatever, I don't have that in me. I think about working for someone else and I would be fired within minutes, or I would quit within minutes of employment. I've been underemployed this last year while I've been so sick, and it's really difficult. And I keep hearing people give me suggestions of places to apply for jobs. And I'm like, why are you encouraging me to go cause a scene in our community? Because that's what it would be, I just don't think I have it in me.
So I don't even think I'm there yet. Yeah. And I think the reason why.
Do you feel okay with that?
Yeah, I don't have any other choice. Like what the feeling is more like, I know I've been held back by these issues we're talking about, the early developmental issues. And it's not like I'm just coming to understand. I have been understanding this through gradients since I was 21, about these impacts, about disempowerment, about what happens when your mom turns you into her nurse or her best friend or the person who has to make up for her lack of fucking ability. Right. And also this could be your dad, right? But in our instance, it's mom.
Sure.
So I've known about this in different ways, and it grows every 5 years, my understanding of it in its impacts. But you got to an ultimate point, and when you get to a more ultimate point, what starts to happen is you start to feel the feelings that you weren't capable of feeling before. Mm-hmm. And most of them have to do with anger and being over it and fucking done wasting time. Like, fuck this really strong
I wonder if that's why I've been swearing so much lately. I think I just ran out of fucks after terminal illness coming back out. And I have got a potty mouth that I need to rein in. And but I wonder if it's just a chunk of time of me needing to get that out.
Yeah. It's yang energy. Like, these energies are real, man. Like, masculine yang energy compressed and held inside. Paying the prices of too much yin energy and letting people fucking do whatever they want and cost you too much time. Like, we're getting to the end part of our lives, towards the end, 50% over or 60% over or whatever. Am I supposed to just keep sitting here and fucking wasting time like this with fucking people and their bullshit? I'm not. That's one feeling. The other feeling is I've been kept away from my actual core and foundational genius or gift or power my whole life. And I thought I was empowering myself starting at the age of 21 forward. I just didn't realize how profound the disempowerment was and how deep it goes. And now that I can sense it and I'm 52, I have the same feeling like I should have been coming to this when I was 20. This is when people have actual fucking parents, this is what happens, you know? I was talking to Sondini, we were talking about Little League Baseball. We were both talking about how we didn't really have active fathers, but we played sports, and how the kids that had fathers were just like, could get like way ahead in baseball specifically. But if you had a dad, you were good to go. But once you hit 14 years old, if you don't have a dad that's working with you on how to hit a curveball, these other kids are going to go fucking, they're going to fly by you in a rocket ship, and you're going to be like, you know, like still working with raw skills. You have to have a dad for that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, buddy, you're lucky. My estrogen levels are so low. Else I'd start crying right now. I see that video you see on the internet of someone like playing catch with my dad, and it's a shot on them, and they throw the ball, and the ball just goes tun 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 on the grass, and then you're like, oh, like, that's sad, but Dad. My dad loved us, man, but he was working 60 hours a week to put a roof over our head. He didn't have the capacity to show up to play catch and fucking show up to games and all that. You
have to have parents. You have to have parents to unlock this kind of a thing. Good parents to unlock this kind of a thing when it should be unlocked. For some people, it could be 16 years old. For some people, it could be 20. For me, it's going to be before I'm 55. That looks like where it's going to happen for me. And if you would look at the story of my life, you would see all these pictures of me being like captain of 2 sports in high school, fucking all this, being in a band, like all that, being in a recording studio, building amazing projects as a green builder, building yurts from scratch, traveling the country with LGO and giving lectures. You would look at all of that and go, man, this dude fucking get it on. But this dude has never really gotten it on yet for real. Cause all of that shit is just me dealing with shit that fell in my lap. And I'm only now coming to the I'm just going to take this whole thing by the balls and do what I need to do now. Whatever that is, I'm not sure.
Isn't that a funny response to give to people? I've been, saying that to people. Like, what are you doing? What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I got a water bill to pay though. You want a guitar? I'm making it work the best I can, but I don't have a drive. And it's funny. It makes people kind of feel almost uncomfortable because you're not like, well, I'm going to get an associate's degree in accounting so I can. You're like, no, man, I don't know. I'm in survival mode and rebirth and hard work. I know that. I know I'm going to keep working out. Might pick up some yoga if I'm strong enough. Be dope. Might keep eating my protein shakes and trying to hit my macros and try my best to quell my horrifically terrible anxiety and being snippy with my kids or my wife, and just work self-improvement. Just continue to try to be better. That's what I'm doing.
Well, that's not a job. You can't make money at that.
No shit.
I do think whatever the choice is, that you need to be in a good position to make it. You can't be wobbly and have other shit not going right and do this kind of thing I'm talking about. But what I think is interesting about it is having to look at it and ask the question about mimicry versus pure original creation. What if we want to get deep about it, quantum about it? It really begs the question: is there really anything such as free will, a free choice, and original creation like that? Or, as we know about the human brain, whatever the last numbers that I heard, 300 million or 300 billion pattern recognizers, neurological pattern recognizers inside the brain. That's how our brain operates, from pattern recognition. So it's recognizing pattern, and mimicry is like how we do shit. So is there really anything such as finding this ultimate thing you want to be and do without it being the result of the data input, and you're going to basically just be mimicking something that you've seen?
Do you think that some people are more receptive to that or more likely to exhibit that behavior than others? Because like, I feel like for one example, not the best example, but when I'm around people who speak different ways, I adapt to their language.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we would survive if we didn't.
But then you have other people who can't even recognize a smile, like autism level, social recognition stuff.
Yes.
So
certainly there's probably a range,
yeah.
But I think at the baseline, if you look at the bell curve, people that are in the middle of the bell curve have to be decent at mimicry, or else we're not going to survive as a species.
In a society in particular, huh?
It's interesting to go deeper with it. If when you're 52 years old and you're like, I'm going to have to start again, because what I do with LGO it has never been my goal in life to be involved in guns as the number one thing and have that be the thing that my soul is invested in. It's never been that. It came to me, and we are making a great thing out of it. But it's always been a place where I was only going to be there for a while. It's just taken a lot longer. It is not my soul's calling to be involved in the gun industry or the cultural improvement of guns in America. I'll do it on the way to where I'm going, but that's not where it's at. So I'm not going back into carpentry. My knees, my back, my age. I'm not breathing that shit in the built environment anymore. So I'm not even sure where it starts. Similar to you, like, where do you start? You're like, you're putting your thing down because of what's happening in the industry, and you're going to have to start again at 40, and it's fucking daunting.
Yeah. And you know what's funny though, man? And I don't know if I'm just disassociating or if I truly made some massive shifts, improvements in my life. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
And I'm not bragging. I'd hope somebody hears this and goes, wait, you can get there? I'm not scared. Shit with my brother, not scared. My wife just tore her ACL. Our winter is fucked. She's going to be on crutches. She's our sole income provider. She just went part-time, which means I can guarantee that FemLaw and her work and everything are not going to try to compensate her for time off at a level that's going to be commiserate of our need, right? I'm going to be taking care of the kids more. I'm going to be having to do all the extracurricular stuff. I don't get the breaks that I need. That I was, this is not catastrophizing. This is just reality. We've been through injuries like this before and surgeries.
Sure.
Wife's had hip surgery, knee surgery, all sorts of stuff. I'm not scared. I'm not worried. I feel strong, emotionally, spiritually. I'm just I'm in fucking man mode. That kidney cheese shit you're talking about. You walk into a room and people recognize you. That's been happening. I have been walking like I have a 3-foot dick slapping between my legs. I developed this. I developed this walk that is just oh God, it's just so uncomfortable for me to move with this schlong in my pants. Sorry. But I'm kind of serious. I've been walking like I am not to be fucked with, or I have all the answers, or I have something. There's just something in the way that I'm moving through life right now. I'm going into the store. I'm getting groceries to take care of my family. I'm going to get those. I'm going to go back. I'm going to cook nutritious food for my kids. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I'm just moving. You fuck around in my house, you're out of my house. Dude. You need help? I'll help you. A little bit. But you don't get it all. Come on. Next thing. It's kind of interesting. There's just this confidence that's coming